Again, my name is Jim Smith. I'm the content manager for Pro Football Hall of Fame. Welcome to our sessions with our Pro Football Hall of Famers class of 2025 presented by Visual Edge IT. The process will be, you'll raise your hand. I'll be glad to call on you. If you can identify yourself and your media affiliation, that'd be greatly appreciated. And we'll just move through this effective and efficiently and get this done today. Afterwards, these fellows have a very, very busy schedule, as you can imagine, and we'll keep that.
There we go.
You can start.
If you want to.
Ruben Frank, NBC Sports Philadelphia. I've always wanted to ask you this. When you were drafted, Buddy talked about a play in college that he saw you make when you guys were down like 49-7. You ran across the field and tackled something. What do you remember about that play? Because it made a big impact on you.
Yeah, when we go way back, since I started, really we were there. But we had a strength and conditioning coach who was at ASU. And Ronnie Jones left and went to Philadelphia. And he told me specifically about that play. We were playing, I think, Cal Berkeley, and we were having a pretty bad game. It was late in the game. The guy raced down the sideline, and from the other side of the field, I go and I track him down and get him before he gets into the end zone. So, for me, it's about the integrity of the game. It's like what you're supposed to do. All those drills you do in the off season, those procedures, things like that, it just kind of kicks in. It's muscle memory. So it's just about, that's what you have to do and to respect the game. So we talk a lot about that.
Do you think that's why I drafted you?
It may be one of the reasons. Maybe I just think overall that team that we had a tremendous group of players, very competitive in practice, and along with those things, that some things you can't teach, I think you saw some of those things in that individual.
Thank you.
This is for Eric. Eric, how does it feel to be here and be the only quarterback for Philadelphia Eagles to be trying to
It's pretty special, just, being 379, that's kind of, and this year, for me, I try to just make sure that the terms, everybody kind of understood, there's context, right? There's safeties, there's DBs, there's cornerbacks. I always took a lot of pride in playing cornerback and being able to play either left or right, or go inside, but I never wanted to transition and go to another position or safety or something like that. I always felt that the impact that I could have at the corner was something that could help a football team, in the end. So I think playing cornerback is really unique, and the way you have to approach the game, play the game, totally different. If you're at, safety, you have to deal with him after he catches the ball. I don't want to deal with him after he catches it. I want to make sure he doesn't catch it. So that's why I took pride in playing cornerback.
Was that your ability to be able to get the interceptions that you had?
Yes.
Was that organic, or is that something that you work on the ball very well?
Yeah, and that's why I think we all can agree that it's never good to just be a one-sport guy. I think for me in high school playing baseball helped me with that, because yes, baseball is a team sport, but when you're up to bat, it's you and the pitcher. And I think that helped me in playing cornerback, because yes, it's a team sport, but if it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and you know where to throw the ball, and you're on that guy, it's you and him. So that skill set, and plus the coaches I had early on, preparation, talking about those kind of things, that I was able to hopefully play the game for the most part from the neck up, so that's a important part of playing cornerback.
I'm Brian Schaub with Allen and Sterling. When you think back at the great moments of all time, I'm just curious, I had to rewatch some highlights last night about it. I still can't forget over that playoff game in 1994 against Detroit. How do you remember that? Just how magical performance?
Not very well. as players, it's really different from being fans. As players, plays call, you understand the situation. We're trying to get in a position to kick a field goal, if I recall, and they blow coverage. I mean, there's only two things that can happen. Either you catch it or you drop it. I don't look at it as a tremendous individual play like he would talk about playing corner, because I'm running a route and it's 3 clouds, so the corner sits and there's a safety directly behind him. Well, our tight end pops open and the safety sees him, so he jumps the tight end, which leaves me wide open. There's not a lot of practice in that. That's just a quarterback that didn't want to throw the ball to an open receiver and Mark Clayton on the left. That's a quarterback that didn't want to throw it to the tight end and popped wide open over the middle. That's a quarterback that had a lot of trust in my abilities, and if he was going to go down, he was going to go down giving me an opportunity, and that's what happened.
This question, Jeff Croyle with Gary Stein and Steven Show. This question is for both of you. Take us through the moment you found out that you were going to the Hall of Fame. What was your reactions and your emotions?
I was more excited because the person was at the door and Randy McMahon. We have a long history. We went on a recruiting trip together in high school. We were like 15 or 16 years old. Just knew how, what a great player he was. And he may not tell me this, but he was probably a coach's decision away from getting a scholarship game, because he was a tight end who couldn't catch. So
There you're right.
yeah, and so they moved him to guard, and I mean, the first game he like graded out like 100%, just a phenomenal player. But so seeing my old friend was just like pure joy, and then kind of overwhelming, like, man, we're in here now. So it was kind of a surreal moment, but obviously, it's something that, once you get it, you're totally excited. You never know when you're going to get in or if you're going to get in, but once you do, you're totally excited and happy for yourself and all your supporters.
Mine was different because I had eye surgery. I had a detached retina. So I was dealing with not being able to see. So there's still a chance, there's still a chance that I won't be able to see out of my right eye. So for me, I never really fully got involved in the process of joy and excitement and what it means and all that, because if someone would have asked me when I had eye surgery in October, you get to choose. You can have sight and keep your right eye, or you can be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. I would have chosen my sight, my right, and kept my right eye. So I never really, in this journey, got a chance, because I've had 4 surgeries, only to find out last week that I now have a hole in my retina, so I'm probably set up for another surgery. So I never got the joy of being able to just deal with that, because I've always been dealing with, surgeries, pressure, cataract, detached retina, torn retina, now a hole in my retina, so I've always had to deal with that.
Barry Wilmer, the Hall of Fame. Especially going to the Hall of Fame, obviously. You join your brother in the Hall of Fame. Talk about that extra special time.
That's hard for me, because this is not, we come from 2 little black boys from Glenville, Georgia, a town of about 2,500 people. This ain't a dream you have on the farm. This ain't a dream you have baling hay and corralling chickens and chasing hogs and picking tobacco. You don't have this dream. It is definitely, truly an honor, truly a blessing from God. I honestly am a firm believer that everything does not have to be articulated or explained. And I think this is one of them that is just a tremendous honor that you look at it the way you want. But I would be doing I would be doing the Hall of Fame, I would be doing this honor a tremendous disservice by trying to talk about how elated, excited, the champion that we are to be the first brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is a lot bigger than any goal or dream that I think he or I had as kids.
Hey, Eric, Rob Body, Associated Press. I grew up in Philly, and when I think of you, I just think of that interception against the Jets, and then you handed the ball to Randall.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind in that moment when you just gave him the ball? He's on crutches and he's in the tunnel.
Yeah, as you know, Randall was like the ultimate weapon. Never really had an opportunity to kind of play and perform year after year, get that experience. It was always, great year, injured. So I'm not sure. I think we would maybe have been tied or behind at that moment in the game. And as I'm breaking on the ball was like a little bit behind the receiver. So it was like I first need to catch it. Right?
Yeah.
So I have to find a way to catch the ball, and I kind of catch it like a back shoulder fade kind of catch it, and I turn around and my eyes look up because obviously, defensive back, when you catch it, go to the near sideline, right? So I'm on the right sideline, I look up and I kind of see like players like walking up field, like, it's an interception, and to me I was like, what? They think I'm
You gonna take it to the
hostage, right? So that's kind of when I started doing stuff, and so I'm breaking down the left sideline, and he's in the entrance and he's on crutches, and it's like just a moment of teammates kind of rallying around Randall, knowing that the game's important, but our guy is probably out for the season, so kind of handed the ball. That was what I was thinking about.
Did you ever get that?
No, I didn't. I asked you when he goes shows up tomorrow.
It's Sam Farmer from the LA Times. I want to ask you about one of your classmates. Antonio Gates is the first Hall of Fame player who didn't play a snap in college football.
Yeah.
Can you put that in perspective, just the difficulty of
No.
that?
No.
Man.
I really can't, because in everything in life, the way we were taught is you have to learn to follow before you can lead. And so you got to learn to go through this step of disappointment of not being a running back or being a safety, not being a quarterback or being a receiver. And for him to go from basketball into football at that level and then end up in the Hall of Fame, I can't articulate that. That is tremendous.
That's a great job for him. I think he reached out to Nick Saban, who had recruited him, and had his pro day at Alabama. So he just kind of come from the hoop court and had his pro day, and he was a success dad. Being San Diego native, he was just a tremendous asset to the football team, and kind of the big reason why the offense was so productive.
This question is for both you guys. Big Red Machine with 1440 and the RYC Minneapolis They Sports Talk. Thinking about in college, what is your guys' thought on the whole realignment, since you guys both played at Power 5 schools, and the whole NIL process? Do you think it destroys recruiting? Because you have a great recruiting story all the way to the Hall of Fame there.
I'm kind of mixed. I just, I understand players need the ability to be able to move just like coaches, but I'm just not educated enough in saying whether they should have some limit on it or something. I just don't know. I just know that players have the opportunity to move, and maybe just once they could go or something. I just don't know.
I don't have enough information. Our rules were, I'm sure there was a transfer portal that you could, but, once we got at our school, there wasn't an opportunity to leave, or thought of process to leave, so I don't have enough information to answer that either.
Frank, Sports Philadelphia. What kind of player is he?
That's an unfair question because he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so that's an unfair question. I would say he was really different at his position, because as a receiver, it wasn't about me getting open or me blocking him. When I studied him, it was about keeping him honest. He was a guy that had very good knowledge of their system and who his help was and what his responsibility was. But he was always going to put himself in a position to make that play. So if we had two receivers and I'm supposed to outside release, if I don't outside release and make him believe that I'm a viable option, he's going to cheat and he's going to get picked. And so he was one of the guys that was very difficult to play against, because when the play goes away, you know, usually the backside will take it off. Well, he was going to go make a tackle. So it showed up on film that you had to keep him honest. And I don't think a lot of people talk about keeping a defensive back honest. He's here because he got great ball skills. But I'm guessing if he, however many interceptions he's got, I would say 3/4 of them are because he cheated and helped someone else. And that is a skill that is self-taught, that is film study, that is abilities. And as a receiver, that's very hard to deal with, to keep a guy like him honest.
Okay, James Simmons, boy, just at the media background. This was Sterling. I got two questions. They're going to be a little bit back to back. Played 7 seasons in Green Bay, and your career abruptly ended because of what happened. I have a high school job in college without high school grades. Would you tell me about how to persevere as a young guy when you have an injury like that? If you even persevere to it, or did you could?
You guys are amazing. What happened to just wanting to play? Not 10 years, not 20 years, not, you know what, I want to be a Hall of Famer, I want to be an All-Pro, I want to lead the league, I want to do all this. How about just playing? How about God give me, if you would just allow me to get there, I just want to play. And I love when people say, well, you know, if your career would have been shorter. Okay, so maybe if my career would have been shorter and you had a crystal ball and you could say I have 500 more catches and 45 more touchdowns, I go in the Hall of Fame 10 years early? What about Ian is it? What about what? I love how my career ended. I love how my Hall of Fame journey began, because my Hall of Fame journey began, no one ever talked about what I did. Everybody always, even now, talk about what I didn't do, which was, you didn't play long enough. I'm sorry. You know, that really is not what I asked for. All I wanted to do was play. I didn't do this for being poor in rural South Georgia, growing up in a house that didn't have running water. I didn't do it for that. A guy told me that, you know what a dream is? And I said, no, sir, what is it? He said, a dream is a gift that you give to yourself. I'm going to start. The only thing I do know about my Hall of Fame speech is I'm going to say this first. This is my life. There are many like it, but this one is mine. All the rest of that is for fans. That's water cooler. You can talk about what I could have, should have, and would have done. Compare me to Jerry, Andre, Tim, Calvin. Knock yourselves out. I got what I wanted. This, being here, this ain't for me. I got what I wanted. This is for family and friends. I get a chance to go in the Hall of Fame with a guy I had never met until the East-West All-Star game. And going up against him and talking with him after shower and practice at the hotel about, so what do you guys teach in technique and using that to make me a better player? This, being here, ain't about me. It's not. This is for family and friends that my grandparents didn't understand, wouldn't have understood what this is. My sister probably wouldn't have understood what this. My brother didn't understand what this was when I started playing football. That's what I wanted to do. That was for me. This is for them.
Hey guys, Troy Davis from YSN. You were about to have the bus in the Hall of Fame. Families were bringing their kids through there. As they walk through and they look at your guys' bust, what do you want them to know about you?
Know about me?
Yeah, like when they look at you and they describe this man played the ultimate pro football game. And what's the one thing that you want to remember?
Well, I think my family already knows, you know, what the deal is and what's important in my life. And I think that's, to piggyback on what Sterling talked about, I think a lot of that is for the fan base. You know, whether you're an Eagles fan, a Saints fan, or a Raiders fan, to validate them. And their support of the type of football I played. But for my family and friends, they already know what the deal is. You know, they know what's important to me. They know that, like Sterling is, I enjoy playing football. I really do. I love it. You hear a lot of people talk about, what do you miss the locker room? Yeah, the locker room was cool. I would get that kind of anywhere. But the week of preparation to know I'm going to go against Sterling and this is going to be on the tube and all my boys are going to be watching. This is what I want to do since I was 8 years old. That's really what it's about. And they all know that. So this is an opportunity to really thank all of them for all the support, and it validates them in the fan base. But for the important people, I'm like, yeah, I know what's up.
Nothing. Because if I want you to know something about me, I'm cheating your dream. Because now you're going to try and do, what did I do to get here? What did I say to get here? Who were my friends and what did my family do to get here? I don't want you to know anything. I want you to go on this journey by yourself. I want you to enjoy your walk. I want you to enjoy this journey. I want you to enjoy the highs, the lows, the pitfalls, the people loving you and people booing you. I want you to go through that. Because when it's over, I want you to be able, and I used to say this all the time about not being in the Hall of Fame. I can have a conversation with anyone at any time about what I put on film. Because I was extremely pleased with what I put on film. Whether you agree, I'm not here because of what I did. There was a group of people that sat in the room and said, you know what? When I think back at look at the numbers and what they mean and all that, I didn't have a vote to be here. So I don't want anyone going through to look at my bus to know anything about me. I want a kid to look, and if being in that room is what he wants, I want him to go with God on that walk by himself, because he will have a greater appreciation for it when it's over, whether he gets there or not.
Okay, last question.
I'll take that last one.
How about behind you? Can you raise your hand behind you? You have asked a question.
Olivia Allen, New York. And this is for Eric. Do you notice that some of the play that you established in Philadelphia, can you still see those influences in the coaching and those DBs that are out there right now that won that championship?
That's a good question. We're talking about the stylistics of play, and there's been ebbs and flows, right? The way we played was more of a balanced football game, right? That run game, that receiver, quarterback, everyone kind of played a part. And then for a little while, we kind of went run and shoot kind of situation. Now I think we're getting back to that 90s type of football, especially with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, obviously. Usually there's going to be some copycats. The Lions play a lot of physical football. But defensive back-wise, the game is different because we don't get the opportunity, or they don't get the opportunity to tackle as much. So that's the one part of the game that is kind of different, that I think defensive backs going to have to get back into is tackling, because I think the game's going to be more physical right now. But I love when the game's played now. I love the fact that we're able to turn on television and see receivers making incredible catches, and running backs now again being able to take over the game. So I love the way the game's played, and hopefully those guys that we have talked to or watched us play have appreciation of where the game was then and now it is now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.